Hello. So hopefully I was listening to the VOD from the other day and discovered that it kind of sounded like I was in a tin can before, so got a different microphone today. We'll see if that works a little better. Bear with me here while I find stuff I'm working on still. Hello, leftmost cat. Welcome to the stream. I have different music in the background now too. Ah, that's cool. Good to hear that he's advertising. Got my trusted blanket here because it's a little bit cold in my office here. It's warm outside the last couple days, which means the air conditioning is going overkill and my office is in the basement. So of course the cold air sinks and it's all right here. So I got to keep myself warm somehow. Actually, this is a it's actually a branded blanket from Mozilla. So I used to work for Mozilla a long time. I was part of the layoffs in 2020, but this was something they gave us as swag at one of the events at some point 5 or 10 years ago. So I'm trying to find well, just let me go ahead and pull the screen up so you can watch. I'm still trying to figure out where the stuff is that I'm working on, but Oh, I gotta work on my chat overlay. I just noticed it's throwing the first time chat thing on there. That's supposed to be a message from me. You don't need to see it. uh, of course, it hides all the controls from me on the overlay. So it's okay. Let me file a bug report for that. We'll figure it out next time. Of course, I load the page. I was going to look at it anyway, but I try to load the page and it doesn't. The back scroll when you first load the thing doesn't show all of those things. So you can't see what it looks like in the debugger to find out what the CSS ID is to block it from the on-stream version. Okay. My line spacing is a bit off too. I don't know how I control that. Things you learn when you do stuff new. This is the first time we've had the chat overlay on stream, because I originally had this all set up to do streaming on both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And we didn't have the chat on screen because there was two different places and we didn't have anything to merge the chats together or anything pretty like that. And it just would have been confusing, so we didn't have it on the screen at all. But since we gave up on YouTube, this is because I was having networking issues once in a while, and if you lose the connection, the stream ends, period. On YouTube, you can't resume it. You have to start over with a new stream, which means new URLs and everything. Whereas Twitch, the URL is always the same anyway, so Twitch is nice and easy, and we'll just do Twitch only for now. But that means we can have chat on because there's only one chat. I suppose I should fix that. That's going to be annoying if it has moderator things on there, but I can't. I don't know what the CSS code is for it. Let's see. I need to find a new mouse for this computer too. I had a wireless one and it died, and it's not the battery because I changed the battery, and it connects and it'll work fine for about 10 minutes and then quit, and I can't get it to work again without dropping it and re-adding it from the control panel. It's a pain in the butt. And the wired mouse, the only wired mouse I have, has a slightly non-functional scroll wheel. And it's a pain having to actually use the scroll bars after being used to using a scroll wheel for so long. And Google is not helping me. Okay. Well, hopefully we don't have anything weird come up today. There's got to be some way to load that that doesn't show all of that stuff. Apparently it's sharing the login with the version that's in my dock, which it shouldn't be. It should be showing the public version on the overlay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not finding anything on Google about this, or even about how to get the. If there's something I can throw in the URL to tell it to ignore my cookies and pretend I'm not logged in. Because I can't log it out because then I would lose all the moderator controls in the dock in OBS. It seems like that would be a common problem for people. Okay, well, enough of that. Let's get back to Bugzilla. So anyway, the first thing I got to do is figure out what bug it belongs to, the thing that we're going to work on. Because I don't think we actually have a bug for it. Oh, here's a bug we can co-opt for that. Filed 6 years ago, how about that? But this is definitely an issue that was triggering our need to have MariaDB separately supported, which we discovered when we were trying to update the MySQL 8 stuff. And this is exactly the issue that we were having to deal with when we were figuring out the minimum MySQL versions for MySQL 8. Because the original problem, we were going to blacklist MySQL 8 because the fix was a long ways off, and we didn't want to hold up the release, so we were just going to block it for now to say, hey, you can't use this because we can't support it. But then we had a patch submitted that worked for fixing the MySQL 8 stuff, so we took it, and now MySQL 8 works. So this bug is going to go only on the security branches, 504 and 5.1, because we're too lazy to port the patch there. And so MySQL 8 is getting, I need to fix the blockers on this bug. Default container. I have, in case you didn't notice there, I have a different user here I'm logged in with because my normal user has access to security bugs and I don't want to accidentally show those on screen. So any of our random browsing around is going to be with the TriageBot user. And then I will switch to my user when I need to actually change something. Edit, and this does not block 5.2 anymore. Which bug number is that? Okay, that is 6717, so that's the one on the end. It does not block 5.2 anymore. I see several people in chat now on the Twitch stats say we got a number of people here. So if you see anything about what I'm doing that looks weird or you think there's a better way to do it, let me know in the chat. I don't, not afraid of having suggestions. I've been actively involved in things for the last several months, but prior to that, I was kind of absentee for a long time. And so there's a lot of what I'm doing with Bugzilla is still getting used to how things are running again and figuring out where the people that I had left in charge previously were doing things. Trying to get cleaned up because those people haven't had time to work on it anymore, and suddenly I have time again, so. Okay, so my dependency tree, let's get all the way back to the top now. There's our tree for all the releases, which we're supposed to release in November, and it's now April, and we still haven't yet. Because things keep happening. They were saying, we can't release with that in there. But, well, there's a lot of resolved, at least. Here's what we have left. So we need support for MariaDB explicitly, which that bug that we just found, where was that? This can be it. So this pull request we're going to rename. It's not going to blacklist MySQL 8 anymore. The MariaDB stuff was already in this patch, so we're just going to have to remove the MySQL 8 blacklisting. And that bug number was... Yeah, it's got conflicts, I know that. Because the MySQL 8 patch got committed, and that had lots of conflicts with the thing to blacklist MySQL 8. And probably the MariaDB stuff. Save that change. And then we need to link this pull request to this bug. And I do not want to be the triage-bot user while I'm editing it. Opens default. It was triggered by a specific commit. We might as well look and see what it was. Oh, hehe. Oh, when we started requiring 5.6, of course, which is newer than 5.5, and everything MariaDB pretends to be 5.5 in order to trick the MySQL utilities into not thinking it's newer than 8. Okay. That was an interesting trick that I figured out when we were doing the MySQL 8 blacklisting stuff, is that MariaDB, newer versions of MariaDB pretend to be MySQL 5.5.5. And there never was a version 5.5.5 of MySQL. So if you have a MySQL that reports itself as being 5.5.5, it's MariaDB. And you know that because it comes back as that version. And our version detection code in check setup actually explicitly checks that now. That if it sees the 5.5.5 on the front, it chops that off and grabs the number after that to use as the version number for Maria. Oh yes, I was looking, we need to add this pull request to this bug. Is that in the comment? Does have it on the comment. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get this up to 5.2 because we're not going to support it on anything earlier. And we'll leave it as a bug. Proper fix for this is explicit support for MariaDB. Since they have diverged from MySQL sufficiently enough that they're no longer drop-in replacement for each other. And we want to add this to the blockers list for 5.2, Bugzilla 5.2, Bugzilla 5.9.1. Okay, now our dependency tree should show that. Here we are. Attach a new file. And we want to do it like the bot usually does, and the bot didn't get it because it was new. We're going to grab the title. I don't know why it doesn't pick the pull request one automatically. That's a bug in BMO. And somewhere we should have a, oops, wrong one. Bugzilla. Oh, 504. We should have a 5.2 one somewhere for. I bet this was it. Yeah, this was the MySQL 8 block list one. We co-opted that one already. Oops. How do I undo that? There we go. I'm too used to being on a Mac. I'm throwing in the Mac key codes. Doing weird things on Linux. Four 67006. this one. Yep. Blocker will not fix. Actually, blocker will fix, but it's going to block a different one. It is. It's not letting me change that because I don't have enough permissions. Hey. It's there we go. 1467006. No longer blocking MySQL 8, so that bug isn't fixing this one. The one for MariaDB support will include it. Oh. Okay, so I'm back over here. Getting that. And let's go on this bug. Add another. Whoops, I need the URL first. I can overwrite my description when I paste the URL in. It didn't because I already had one. Cool. Okay. And this one is still a draft, so it's not even checking whether it's compatible or not. How about the Harmony one? I didn't mark that one as a draft. Okay, who do we want to tackle first, Harmony or 5.2? Let's see, I'm on Harmony right now. What's the name of the branch that it's on? Copying that's going to give me the whole URL to it, isn't it? It doesn't. It just gives me the name. Yay. Okay. Oh, goody. Which one did I use? There it was. Okay. What is the git command to... I want to diff it against the main branch, but I only want to see the files that are touched and not the actual changes. It's like list files or something. No. Name only. Okay. It's in the debug. Name only. It's lots of them. Oh, and changes to the Circle CI stuff, which is gone. Did I pulled it in so we could have tests working on this branch. Okay. Which means I had the upstream patch in here for the Circle CI stuff. Wow, there's a lot of stuff changed. A lot of this is probably because I haven't pulled. It's so much stuff has been committed upstream since then. That's why I'm not comparing from the ridge point. You know what? This will tell me on here. Files changed. The Circle CI stuff was changed compared to trunk because it was removing it. Okay. So we don't have a big list of stuff that's been. Oh, we have all of that stuff in here too. Okay. So the biggest chunk of this patch was something a couple contributors insisted on at one point, was changing all the occurrences of blacklist to be blacklist instead. And most of the changes in this patch are actually that. Okay, well that makes merging easy. Okay, so we want to merge from Harmony. And of course it failed. We knew that was going to happen. Actually, I should abort that. We should rebase and not merge. Okay. Some of that stuff already landed upstream. Okay. We're going to take all of this and see what happens. And yep, it had conflicts. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Docker file PML slim deleted and head modified here. That's okay. Did we pick up the both of them? We did pick up the Bugzilla Slim because that's what happened on trunk, is it got renamed. So we modified it and upstream renamed it. And upstream already took the modifications on a different branch, so. Okay, then we have two files that got both modified. And they changed what was included in it. Upstream added documentation and PG. And we added MariaDB. Excuse me. Okay. We're going to leave upstream's version. Change the MySQL to be MariaDB. Well, that was the only conflicting change in it, right? Yes, it was. Okay. Yeah. CPAN files modified. No, it shouldn't matter. It's generated anyway. I don't even know why it's in Git. Yeah. How do we... Let's see if I want to keep upstream's version of a file. How do we do that? I just edit it, take upstream's version, I guess, for the individual changes. Upstream has that part. And okay, get rebase, continue. We've got another one that's conflicted. That's why we do rebase instead of merge, because this lets us do a patch at a time, solving the conflicts. Whereas merge throws the whole thing at you and you have to resolve them all at once. Okay, status. We got Docker file got modified. And this, we're just going to completely take upstream's version. Why is ours newer? Upstream should be the newer version of that. Maybe it's a newer patch. Now we're up to date. Still has the old one. Oh, and that's the one creating that image. You don't have to. Oh, that's on a different branch. That's why it doesn't have the newer version. That actually hasn't been merged yet. That's on a PR. Where's Dylan? I need that PR merged. Maybe we can depend on that one. Yeah, we'll be okay. So anyway, here's our status. Our working tree is clean, but we have a bunch of stuff pushed. Okay, we just did a rebase, so I didn't do a force push. Okay. Now let's refresh over here. We dropped a couple file changes, yay. Okay, as long as this is showing us the get rid of the block list on MySQL. Which file is that? Bugzilla constants. 547 or so. And we're no longer blacklisting 8. We are requiring 5612 still. And there's our block from MariaDB. And what is the package name actually? We need to explicitly use that package now. Okay, it is capitalized. And the package name is capitalized also. They require at least, let's see, DB MySQL, we're going to compare them all. Oh, hi, Michelle. I haven't seen you around in a while. Michelle used to handle some infrastructure stuff for us a while back. Managing test instances and stuff like that. So that's our next question we need to figure out here. If we use the internal MySQL and have put exceptions in it for both, since they do still share a lot of common code. Which I think we might go ahead and try that. Okay, that was our only change in constants. What are we doing here? Oh, that's our database version checks. $279. Yeah, there's what I was telling you about checking for version 5.5.5. So the MariaDB version always says 5.5.5 dash and then has the actual MariaDB version immediately following that. So here we're going to look if the configuration in local config is saying to use MySQL or to use MariaDB. Then it's going to look for the 5.5.5 and chop it off the front. And explicitly say we're using MariaDB if it did that. You still need all the block list code, there's nothing changing there. That was fixing the block, because if anything ever does get blacklisted, that's still the mechanism for doing it. We just took it out of the config that it's not blacklisted anymore. So that way we can blacklist one if we ever need to again in the future. So this little block here is changing. I don't think we're actually writing it back out to local config, but it's changing the interior config, the in-memory config to say, oh, we're actually using MariaDB, that's not MySQL. Okay. That was the only changes we did on that file. Everything else in the patch. Upstream does have the newer version. Did I take the wrong one? So we didn't change anything there. Actually, I don't want to touch that yet. We're going to leave that being wrong because it's going to conflict again when I make sure that other patch lands at a time. Okay. So now we need to look at actually look at the contents of that directory. I did not clone it. Good. So we need to make sure this knows how to handle MariaDB correctly. If there was anything in here. How do I test this? That's the next big question. Maybe I do need to depend on that Docker stuff. Yeah, let's do it. I'll pull all the new Docker stuff in so I can get the test suite, and I'll set up a test suite explicitly for Maria so I can test it. Okay. What we did might be enough to make that work. We'll find out. Okay. We did have the MariaDB in Makefile. We have an explicit version there. We did. And that supported it from the beginning, so we don't need that. Any version works. Okay. Wait a minute, I'm still on my branch. What I do? Oh, I didn't actually commit yet. That would help. Not like. Oh, I didn't add the file first before I committed. There we go. Yeah, let's just merge on this one. Wait, what's my upstream on this one? How do I find it out? That doesn't tell me. Pull request will tell me. Yeah, it's that one. That is on Harmony. Okay, good. No changes. Okay, cool. One 8 5 1 3 5 4. Why is that not? Missed a number. 5 1 3 5 4. Harmony. Merge conflict in Docker file. That's the Docker file merge conflict I was expecting before that we got weird. And that should be the one with the newer date. And the explicit extension for which image we're using. Making it possible to be able to specify on the command line which database you want. Okay. Oh, and we took the change wholesale, so Docker file status. Everything's green, so merge continue. And that was it, the conflicts. Which PR was that? I need the number. 124, okay. We got tests failing already from what we pushed before. That might be a good check to find out what happened. Can't find email simple sender. Oh, that's because I'm using the old Perl Slim image. Right. If I push what I just did, that should fix that. Now we've got tests running, and we'll have to sit a while to find out what's going on with those. Meanwhile, we need to Docker compose test. We're going to clone this file. Maria. Wait, I don't have that file already, do I? AGSQLite, and then the one that doesn't say which is actually MySQL, which I should rename it at some point. Okay. Docker compose test MariaDB. Yeah. Okay. I didn't fix that file. Oh, we need to find a MariaDB image to use. did we do in that MySQL file? It's not even there. Is that test suite even run? Oh, it's in images, that's right. Config file. What is in that config file? Oh, that's compatible. We'll use it. Maybe. I don't know if we need it. We'll just use upstream image. Yeah, it'll be what we're looking for. Maintained by MariaDB Foundation. Yay. Yeah, I don't really care what they're basing it on, but we went 10.6. Just use that one. Okay. I got a number of other things we gotta fix in here. Depends. Except for this. Yeah. Why is that missing from the MySQL one? All checks passed. Ooh. Requests. That passed, huh? Okay. I bet it's still using an old image. That wouldn't be, why would the, I don't know. A slim MySQLite and a slim PG. Oh, I know why. Duh. Because it assumes MySQLite if you don't pass it, that's why. Okay. So I want to copy this. Compose test Maria. Paste that back in here. be MariaDB 106. Host is going to be MariaDB 106. That's what we called it, right? Yes, it is. Yeah, we got to create one for MariaDB. Desktop is looking a little too sharp. What does that even mean? Okay, we're going to use the same slim image as our builder. We don't need to add all the MySQL stuff. The gem file with MariaDB instead. And we need, what the heck is the name of the packages? We don't need an MySQL repo on this one either. What the heck is the MariaDB package names on Debian? That's probably not it. We'll find out in a couple minutes. Add it to the top. So it's an inserted line in the middle, only one line in the diff. So default MySQL client. I think that's, whoops, needs the slash in there. We'll try it. That's different. Oh, okay. Thought that would have been a command line option. But it should have been a command line image or command line option. Okay. Well, quick and dirty for now. I can fix that to be a command line option later. Right now, I just need it to work so we can run this test. Copy MySQL 8.1, and we're going to Yep, that's it. Okay. Oh, duh. You know what? I don't even have Docker in this VM.
Ashimima just followed on Twitch.
Well, thanks for the follow. Oh yeah, I didn't change the alerts. They all say on Twitch because there were separate alerts for YouTube. Back when we used to do both. Okay, it's already in there. It's just not running. How do I start it? Let's see. Yeah. What is it? Well, installing Composer would have pulled in Docker if I didn't have it installed. So, because I was thinking I didn't have Docker installed yet. Yeah, that starts a container, not the daemon. No autocompletes, so there's not a system script for it, really. It'll be taken. I own the repo. What do we do? System start Docker D. Service not found. That's what I was wondering because it didn't autocomplete. Yeah, it's not auto-completing. We have a Docker client without a daemon. Can you do a remote Docker? The ID is still running. I just can't find it. Oh. And I will have to log out, log back in to pick that up, right? I have to log all the way out, probably. Why is it trying to do HTTP? got a hyphen in it, I think. It's running. There's something broken in the config. Now this randomly devolves into a Docker debugging session. I got to commit, but I did already. Figures. Typing too fast for it. Still. There, I got it. I didn't forget it. I'm just typing too fast for it. My fingers trip over each other, hit the wrong keys on the way through. Can you have A and edit yourself? Yeah, it'd be fun if we could do that over here. Okay. Let's see, that is patch 1851354. Okay. It would make more time than we have on, or it would take more time than we have on the stream to set that up so it would actually work. Let's see. Oh, successfully rebased and updated. Got it. Okay. I'm on a different computer where I know Docker works. Pulling that branch. Bugzilla Slam Maria. It's off and building. Yes, I am. Doing it on the host. Which I suppose that could be nice and let you follow along. This one. There we go. Except you see the whole window. And yeah, it doesn't work. Default live MySQL client was the wrong package name, so that didn't work. packages. There's lots of stuff about how to install the server, but nothing about the clients. Because there is a, well, let me, if I spell it right so it knows what to autocomplete. There it is. Default live MySQL client dev. That's what the name of the package is. And that just pulls in through. Okay. That was right. I lost my scroll back. Live MySQL client dev, yep. MariaDB client. There is no developer library because that's the default MySQL one. It's probably the MariaDB common. I bet you the MariaDB client pulls it in both cases. Let's try it with MariaDB common and see what happens. Yeah, developer library is what I was looking for. I don't need the server. We have an image for the server. This is the client stuff. We're looking for the client without the server for the purposes of this image. Well, it's building. So far, so good. Yeah, we need to build the DVD MariaDB package in Perl CPN. That's exactly what we need it for. So we need the developer library so we can build the Perl module. Just occurs to me that you can't see the command line on this window because when I'm typing, the command line is underneath the. I suppose you can. It's right underneath the logos. Okay, it still failed. What did we fail at? Configure failed for DBD MariaDB. So MariaDB Common does not install the developer libraries. So I guess we go with that default one again then. Default live MySQL client dev. Wait a minute. Live Maria. Does that autocomplete anything? No. Yes, it does. No, that's not Maria. Oh, it is. Live MariaDB dev. There we go. Whoops. Okay, I don't want to write that. Edit the file. Live MariaDB client dev. That's what it was, right? No, it's not. Live MariaDB client dev. And we're off and running again. If you're referring to the default live MySQL client dev thing, that is a Debian and Ubuntuism, which grabs out of their alternative system whichever of MySQL or MariaDB that you have installed and grabs the appropriate package to go with it. But they don't ship MySQL, which means it's always MariaDB. So if you use that default live MySQL client dev package, you actually get the MariaDB libraries. I think they did that first back when they had both of them before they decided to drop MySQL. It probably would be more, but it's a little. That means finding the container, which actually the container didn't finish building, but I have one of the slim containers, yeah. It's a pretty interesting thing that Dylan did on these original Docker images. Install all the C compiling libraries and everything, all build essential. And then, so hey, it succeeded in building. So anyway, yeah, his image installs all of the build essential stuff, so you get all the C libraries and everything for everything you need to build all the Perl libraries. And then it builds them all locally into a local directory in Bugzilla. And then it scans them for .so files to find anything that it actually compiled as a binary. And then uses apt-file and LDD to figure out which packages own all of the libraries that it compiled against. And then makes a list of those packages. And then it starts over from scratch and installs only those packages and the Perl libraries that we built, copied over from the previous image. So you end up with a package that doesn't have any developer utilities on it, but does have all the Perl libraries, which shrinks the size of the image quite a bit, apparently. So it makes a nice small Docker image to download off of Docker Hub. And I am not going to push this to Docker Hub yet. I want to play with it first. And we want to edit the run test script to add a command line option. This one already does command line. If our command line option is MariaDB, then we're going to use the MariaDB compose file. And that is all I called it, right? Docker compose MariaDB. Yep. So the moment of truth. Build failed. What did we do? Invalid composer project. Undefined service, Bugzilla 6. Depends on MariaDB 106. Oh, because I did Maria 106 instead of MariaDB. Haha! Spelling is everything. Okay, let's try it now. Failed immediately. What do we have now? Oh. Because it's trying to load all of them from that backdate. Yeah. Nah, it doesn't want it on Docker Hub. It wants our Docker file to be referencing the version that we just built. And it's throwing a date code at it. That's old. And I never built one that old. So we need today's data in here. It's going to be the 19th. That should fix the problem, but it'll break it for all of the others other than MariaDB. Off it goes. It's building this time. So the build that we did a minute ago that we were working on was building a prerequisites image for Bugzilla that contains all of the prerequisites you need to run Bugzilla on MariaDB without MariaDB itself or Bugzilla in it. So now the one that we're building now is using that as a reference image and building Bugzilla itself on top of it. And now we're pulling the MariaDB server image. And it's up and running, and the tests are going. Maybe the tests are running. It died. Can't locate dbd MySQL PM. Oh, I know what we did. Yeah, that's in the compose file. Test Maria. We forgot to tell we are not specifying DB driver, and when you don't do that, it assumes MySQL. So DB driver equals MariaDB. There are no MySQL drivers on that image because we only built MariaDB. So it can't connect to MySQL. So it helps if we tell the config for Bugzilla that we're using MariaDB. Although I thought we had that in the version check, they would automatically switch to Maria on the fly. Oh, Bugzilla itself does, but the test suite stuff doesn't, because it does a check at the beginning to make sure that it can connect to the database before it starts running the tests. And it's not connecting because it would be going by now. It's doing the 20-second timeout trying to connect. And that is one hell of a generic error message. I can't connect. It doesn't give me the reason why. There's a reason there, but it's empty. That's supposed to be after the colon. That's why there's 2 spaces there instead of 1. So we got an empty error message. Not necessarily have to fix the server. It's something in the test suite, probably. Get the Docker dashboard out here. Well, it unloads all the images after it's done, so that doesn't help us much. Let's run it manually and see what happens. Okay. Test box is this one. It's not right. Oh, it quit. It exited just before I ran it. Okay. That's not helpful. MariaDB is still up though. How do I test that if that DSN is right? So that's exactly the code where it's dying at right here that we're looking at. This is the stuff in the test suite that's checking to make sure that it can connect to the database server first before, well, the SQLite stuff isn't in here. Where's MariaDB? It's in a Docker image, separate Docker image container. Oh, in this file? It grabs it out of whatever you have DB driver set for in local config. which is why it failed looking for MySQL the first time, because it grabs DB driver out of the environment instead of looking at the config, which got changed. Check setup hasn't run yet to detect that it's actually MariaDB on the server end and switch the driver over. So that's why this is failing, because this is looking at whatever was in the config before it runs check setup. So we're grabbing local config and getting the configuration out of it. And local config, when running under Docker, pulls all the data from the environment instead of using the local file. So that's what those BMO underscore variables were that we were editing in the Docker Compose file. So DB driver is going to be MariaDB. DB host might be wrong in the config, because we changed the dependency and didn't change the host. MariaDB host. Oh, we did change the host. MariaDB 106. And there's the host definition down here. So there's our host, which is running the upstream MariaDB Docker image. Oh, I wonder if those MySQL database environment variables work on it. That might be the problem. The database might not be there. Yeah, that's what I was just asking. Probably not. History, restore previous session. Switch back over here briefly. Supported tags, quick reference. Yeah, it's MariaDB underscore with all the same environment variables. So that was our issue. Off to the races again. Although if the database didn't exist, I would have thought it would have given us that as an error message, but who knows? I think this microphone is probably picking up all of my background noise. You can hear me slurping my drink. Every key press on the keyboard. It still failed. Unknown server host. does that server host not exist? MariaDB 106. It's even in the container list. Did I spell it wrong or something? We got a real error message this time, at least. I don't know whatever's different from before. Yeah, it highlights that's the host it's looking for. Unknown server host. MariaDB driver doesn't do its host names differently, does it? Okay, test container is this one. See if I can get into it fast enough. Wasn't fast enough. There we're in. It's probably going to cut us off in a couple seconds though. Yep. And the MariaDB image shut down, or container shut down after the test one did. Well, what? I don't understand how the host can't exist. Let's see. I can override the start command, right? Good question. Does that actually work? It don't work. Because it doesn't work, that's why. RM what? That only makes it go away when it exits. And it didn't. I can still see the container, it's just not running anymore. It is still running right now, I can see it. Yeah, we can successfully get into it. Entry point, that's what I want. Okay. That exited immediately. How do I make it stay up indefinitely, or at least long enough for us to play with it? Nope, exited immediately. I didn't like that. Still exited immediately. What do I do to make it stay running? Yes, it did just run an exit. That's the problem. stay running long enough for us to log into it. I did force interactive mode. It worked if we did the main test suite because it took 20 seconds to time out, but we only had 20 seconds and then it died and kicked us out. No, it's Bugzilla that's the problem, not Docker, I think. It's just trying to figure out where. Yeah, fun. Oh, bash-i. It exits like immediately. So the -i doesn't work. That didn't work. Data params must exist. Okay. But it doesn't for the other one? No, because the other one was dev HTTP. See, it's command underscore dev HTTP, and the dev HTTP is what we put in there. I did that and it didn't work. It exited immediately. Oh, I'm not sure you can do that in Compose. Cannot set terminal process in appropriate I/O control for device. Yeah. Bash says there's no terminal, you can't do interactive. I doubt we have screen installed in that image, but that's an idea. It's probably not in the image. With code 2, data params must exist. Why did the dev HTTP work then? Was there an exception for that or something? Checking before it dispatches. Check for data. There's not an exception for that dev HTTP, so why does that run? Wait for database runs before it runs my command. That's not going to help us. Okay. Well, hey, this is temporary just for testing. Let's just throw this right here. How is it not even getting that far? We're just getting ourselves lost today. Why is it skipping past that code? The print line is running. I saw it print there in the output. That's part of the point of this, is it's running to it's checking whether the database is there or not, and it's giving it 20 seconds to show up. So it shouldn't matter. It's not. MariaDB exited immediately after it started. That could be the problem. What do you mean on OBS? You're not watching my Docker desktop. That's what. Oh, yeah. Let's see. The window's tiny. So there's where we just were. So there's what we were doing. And the MariaDB image is exiting immediately and there's no logs. That's wonderful of it. Configured logging driver does not support reading, whatever that means. Logging driver none. That would be a problem. What should we set that to? Or if we will use a default if I leave it out. That's half the fun of writing a new patch, is writing new tests to go with it, right? Okay, MariaDB died immediately. It has logs this time. Database uninitialized password option is not specified. You need to specify one of MariaDB root password hash with. Okay. I should have copied that out of there. It all disappeared when it shut down. Okay, but now we know what to do with this. This looks harder to read than before with the terminal window tiny like this instead of the whole screen. Excuse me. If I make it bigger, it's gonna give me more characters instead of making the text bigger, isn't it? Yep. Transcross, I don't see that as a choice. If you're familiar with it, where do I find that? Hey, we got a different error message. Progress. Database connected, and now we have a user problem. OBS video settings, scaling. Oh, scale filtering, there we go. That change it any? I can't tell if that changed anything, but the scaling was on bicubic before, now it's on Lanczos or whatever that is. Okay. Did that change anything just now? Okay. Well, anyway, we got a new error message, which gives us something else to look at. I bet you those other two still needed it. See if that does anything. Maybe it needed the normal user one defined to assign to the database that it created. How are we doing on time? Pushing 4 o'clock, okay. I have until 5 before I have to disappear, I think. It's the moment of truth. MariaDB kept running this time. And now we're back to not having an error message. So it's connecting and something's going wrong. You know what? I bet it's database options. DBD, that's what we need. Database handles. It's the SSL support stuff, I bet. Yeah, I don't know, we might not. It's a thought. Oh. Hey, well, there's definitely stuff that's not going to work here. But we didn't make it this far yet. It has the MySQL hard-coded. We're definitely going to have to change that to MariaDB. So let's see, what are we doing about that here? We're not doing any SSL stuff if it's not specifically MySQL. The fact that it's MariaDB means we should be skipping the SSL stuff. Is that a problem? Is it requiring SSL and we're not using it? Yeah, it's whether it's forcing us to do SSL or not is the question. And it's probably safe to assume that they want to. These are default attributes. Raise error, print error, the only attributes we got on there by default. That's right here. And this whole block right here is only getting run if the driver's MySQL, so if we're using Maria, it's not going to run it. So all the attributes for SSL aren't going to get added at all. Not that they even matter, because those are all MySQL anyway. So we are explicitly not using SSL here. Let's run that again. I'm going to watch the logs. See if the server says anything weird. Does not appear like it was logging connection attempts. Too many, there we go. The annoying part, we edit any of these config files, it counts as a change in the directory that's going into the Docker image. So we have to rebuild it if we touch anything. If it doesn't shut down, the logs won't disappear before I can disconnect, or before I can copy them. Except it still removed it, didn't I just remove that? Oh. That's why. The RM can stay there, but I need to not shut down the compose cluster first. At least we got good music while we wait, in somebody's opinion. Okay. Oh, that's because we got rid of that RM from before. Should run immediately this time because we didn't change anything. Okay, it's up and running. Yeah, I'm looking at the logs. And it's not logging connection attempts where I didn't manage to find them. We got a different error message when we tried that, so. That's a good question. Because it's not giving us an actual error message. Okay, now we're getting access denied messages. So it's successfully connecting. There we go, there's our access denied. Okay, we have to define a root password or the server won't stay started. And it has to be different from our user. We do have to specify the user and the database. Almost over top of chat for a minute. That's okay because it's up in the corner. So we have MariaDB user, MariaDB password. MariaDB database. Then we have root password. Oh, there's no root user, but that shouldn't matter. Okay, now let's try it with that. No, I don't want your full screen. That'll be useful to look at if we need to go that route again. No messages getting logged at all on the server side. And we were getting the failed connection attempts before, when we didn't have the bugs user defined. Looking to see what it does. Reading logs, most boring thing. Creating database bugs, creating user bugs, giving user bugs access to schema bugs. So I did do all that. The database exists, according to the log. Okay. Oh, we were overwriting the... Oh, that's why none of that ever worked. In the script, we're overwriting the command. Hello, Emmanuel. It's probably still not going to work, but let's give it a shot. So we edited around a bunch of code to try to make MariaDB work as a separate entity. And now I'm trying to get the test suite to actually test it. And we are stuck at the moment at the point of trying to get the test suite to connect to the database server. And it's going to sit there and do nothing forever because that's exactly what we told it to do. Okay. Can't copy paste from there. Thought I had that set up. Let's see if this works. 6A151. There we go. That was enough. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because it's remote. It's lowercase or uppercase? I don't remember. That's it, because now we're getting access denied. Okay. It's MariaDB. You can see that once we connected the command line client to still MySQL. Trying to be compatible now, aren't we? The image that we're in does not have any MySQL client stuff in it at all. So whatever's there was installed by the MariaDB packages. The Bugs database is there, and I just accessed it with the Bugs user. There shouldn't be any tables yet. We haven't gotten that far. Nope, empty set. So it's that connection test code is not handling MariaDB properly in the startup script for the testing. This gives us a much faster turnaround time on testing that, because I can edit the copy and the image until we figure out what's going on. And that gives us a no error message. Oh, I should look at the logs while we were doing that. Yeah, it doesn't log successful connections at all. The 2 attempts we made that get an access denied are the only ones that logged. Okay. We have no Vim in here probably. Nope, didn't think so. Yeah, I didn't think so. So much for that idea. Do we have any editors in here? Any idea what the password is? Okay, guess we'll do it the old way after all. I suppose, how do I do that? Oh yes, you can access that in Docker Desktop. Okay. So here's the test image. We go to the Files tab. excuse me. Now nobody can see what I'm doing. Here's what I'm working on right now. It's probably stretched a little bit. I don't know which direction it needs to go, but you can make it this way to make it look better on screen. So here's where we're doing the DBI connect right there. The first thing we try to do, if it fails, is do a die with the error string. And that's going to output to, this is running inside async IO in Python. Or no, this is Perl, but it's doing similar async stuff. We're using the object-driven code anyway, so it's gonna exit that loop with the error, and that would get captured down here. So here's where we run the loop, and we got two loops defined. One's that timeout one waiting for 20 seconds, and then one's the repeat loop where we're trying to connect. And so we exit when any one of those finished. And then here's our error message that we were outputting. So we're supposed to have that DBI error string right here, which is being nice and highlighting so we can see where it's getting that from. So something's not giving us an error string. So first, if we got any exit code, then we grab the output from that and die with it. And then we check DBI for an error string and output and die with it. So let's try if we only check DBI, because maybe the output is not giving us something. Now we got actual errors. How about that? Can't locate DBD MySQL. Why are we looking for it? Oh, right, that's the code I said was going to die. Well, that was interesting. So we weren't getting an error, it just... So we got past that. This is the code that I said was going to die when we were looking at it earlier, because we're using the Bugzilla's MySQL driver, which is not checking which driver it's running under yet, which was the problem. Okay, so let's get out of here. Bugzilla bin control. Oh, we can exit out of our image now if it lets us. I'll have to kill it, I guess. So test stop. Go. Use the big window so everybody can see. Okay, so our first problem is that is catching things it shouldn't have been catching. Hopefully that doesn't break something else, but and then we have this thing. We need to check DB driver, because it's not necessarily going to be MySQL anymore. And it's not going to be that either. The DBI string doesn't match our driver best. We had to fiddle with that in here. Where is it? Right here. Get the right key combo here. We don't need all of this stuff because we just got it. Oh, wait, yes we do. Back up 20 times. This is where we need that. Okay, that grabs the string that we use for DSN. I should make that the other way around. So if you're wondering what this funker code here is, we have in the constants directory, or the constants, there's a DB module constant which contains a list of all of our database drivers, the way that we get them out of the config. And then it has which module we're going to use and all that kind of stuff for it. So this is grabbing out of that setting for whichever driver it says they're using, getting the DBD module, and then grabbing the actual name off the end of that, which is what the DSN uses for its driver option. MySQL sock may or may not work. Maybe we need to clone this whole driver. How big is this? I'm worried about code separation. I don't know. We'll leave them. Let's see what happens. That's what I was just asking. I think we may have to go ahead and do that. It's 90% of the code is the same, and there's like little bits and pieces that are different. And so I was thinking we could if then the places where it's different, but it's probably safer to just go ahead and fork it at this point. Okay. Oh, hey, you know what? It gave me the image ID right here, didn't it? I don't have to copy it out of Docker Desktop. No such container. Oh, that's the image ID, not the container ID. Grr. Let's try it this way. Yeah, that's the one I want right here. Okay, I'm gonna go scripts, entry point, test BNO. Unknown attribute MySQL enable UTF-8. So yep, they renamed them all, and they're going to complain about the ones that are wrong. So now we got a little bit more work ahead of us here. There's no PS command in here, so I can't find what the one is to kill. Okay, we will just kill it from Docker Desktop. Here we go. All of those are going to be different. Yeah, it's back over on this tab. And there they all are right in front of us. Replace, replace, replace. Yep. Oh, all the same variables, but we've got to change the... we have to define local config variables for all of those. That'll be fun. Yeah, for these I can do that. The ones just above that, questionable. Why is it uppercase? That one we're going to set there. And that has to be changed case because it's like that. These ones right here are the local config variables. And then there's all these little hacks for things that are on old versions of MySQL that we don't know whether it's going to be necessary in MariaDB or not. It won't hurt anything if it does. Okay. Oh. That's nice to know too. So that's not going to be needed on Maria because Maria is definitely new enough. Some of these comments, I'm not sure if it's worth changing. Because still it's historical where they came from. This is going to have to be messed with. MariaDB does it different. We've got bugs open because of that. We're actually fixing that for MySQL 8 and might have fixed it for Maria. Let's run it and we'll find out. Converting your tables. That's output text for the user, so we can change that one. Comments I'm not worried about yet. Wait, did I just see something? MySQL 3? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll leave that. That's if you're importing an old MySQL dump, which somebody could conceivably still do. I don't know if that's still true in MariaDB, but... We should change that default to Maria, since that's what everybody actually has nowadays. So I need to duplicate all of those for Maria. Unless we just use those with the same variables. What do you call which DB stuff? Somewhere in here. Did we just pass it? Yeah, there it is. This is where we tell it which module we're using, so. That comment ain't quite exactly. Okay, shall we try it and see what happens? Yeah, too far back. I'll just type it. This song is good for right now. The lyrics, there's an error in the code, let me show you. Okay. Well, now at least it's saying MariaDB. Can't load payget object method new via package. There's an error in the package itself. We typoed something. Syntax error. That didn't get far enough, it just didn't load. Okay. That didn't work. I'll just kill it from the record desktop. This will probably tell us. Except it won't in here because everything's going to fail because I don't have all the prereqs installed on this device. I should have done that in the image while it was running. Okay. I think you can. Compile T is the one that I'm looking for because that's the one that'll test whether it actually build or not. I think it's number 7. Nope, it's not 7. Would have been number 1 maybe. Did it skip it? Compile test is gone. Okay, well. It runs. Okay, so that's not what the issue was. What else stupid did we forget to do? Oh, we don't have Vim in here, that's right. What was that error again? It's just so. That's something completely different. That is still going to be the case because they still use that in Maria. That's a string reference. That's a string reference. And we'd have to duplicate all of our strings. Were these the ones that you were talking about? Okay. So I was saying before, those are the local config variables and they would be the same for either client. And those are the names that they are going to have if somebody was upgrading from a previous version. So renaming those would be an issue. We'd have to duplicate them if we did anything. And we should probably check for both if we duplicate them. But not inside the image. Can't use the image paths. Okay, what the heck line number was that? 196. Wait, did we spell it right? Bugzilla, DB, MariaDB. Ah, right here. That would be our problem. Helps if the package names itself correctly. So it loaded itself as DB MySQL. And then I went to call new on the MariaDB, and it wasn't there because the MariaDB file called itself something else when it loaded. Okay. Oh, why'd I do that? I could have just, oh no, we can't edit the files in there, that's right. Gotta rebuild it. First pass of check setup PL will generate local config variables that don't exist yet. This is flavored water. Okay. MariaDB enable UTF-8 doesn't exist. They even have a variable for it. They probably don't do anything that's not UTF-8. Just get rid of it. This is peach lemonade is the flavor. Oops. Yeah, that's what I figured. UTF-8 was already a thing when they forked, so. Yep. Oh, we're pushing 5 o'clock. I need to take a break because I got to go fix dinner for the rest of my family. I can probably come back and resume this after dinner. And they don't do that either. Figure as much. I don't know how we'll deal with that one. It just won't be using SSL because that's the trigger we're using to set at SSL mode on MySQL. Closest thing we have is this, the verify the certificate. Because that's what that was for, that we were setting on MySQL, was the MySQL driver has an option that lets you fetch the SSL public key off of the server and then use that. Which is basically the same thing as not checking that the certificate is valid. It lets it work with a self-signed certificate. Although verification is disabled by default. Oh, that's why. Because the MySQL driver had that enabled by default, this validating the certificate. Okay, so if it's not validating it anyway, then we don't have to. Except that we don't have a way, we're not specifying that it needs to use SSL anyway. Okay. Well, MariaDB doesn't need it anyway, right? When I set up the tests for MySQL 8, they had certificate validation enforced on the driver by default. And they had an option to fetch the certificate, then use the one that it fetched. So that's what I added the code for. I need to go soon, but we'll test this. Looks different. Bugzilla DB schema MariaDB class could not be found. Oh no. Something else we have to duplicate. Well, we got further than before at least. Okay, I'm going to leave that here so we can see it. And I need to disappear so I can go make dinner for the rest of my family. And I think I will come back and resume the stream after I get done with dinner. So it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 o'clock Eastern Time, which would be 11 o'clock UTC PM. So we'll see you all then. It's a good time to experiment with my keyboard shortcuts that I made in case the mouse quits again. So let's see. I got one to go to the stream ending screen and the second one to stop the stream.